let 6 all-star selections go to his head, he never would have had the heart to give back to the streets that shaped him. That's the fighting spirit. That's what makes a lion. Modelo, root for those with a fighting spirit.
Third overtime showdown this season, friends. Second straight on the road. Tonight's free basketball, unfortunately, belonging to Atlanta. 5 in double figures on each side, led by Trae Young's game-high 34. CJ with a season high, though, for New Orleans. 29 and 10, his third double-double of the season. It's a 3-point overtime victory for the Hawks. And again, the Pelicans continue to alternate wins and losses since that Charlotte win when they had back-to-back wins to open the season. We have reaction to it coming your way here on Pelicans Live, presented by Toyota. Aaron Hardigan and David Wesley, longtime NBA guard, who was you were doing that a lot there in the final frame there, that overtime. Frame.
I didn't think they came out and played with their best. They didn't come out and play with the best energy.
Yeah.
They weren't doing all the right things, but to think that they didn't play their best game and they were still there at the end with an opportunity to win. I mean, you're on the road. You just want a chance to win. And then they made some similar mistakes they've made in past games down the stretch, things that they'll clean up. This young team is still figuring some things out.
Yeah.
And there are certain plays you have to make if you're going to win close games on the road. And tonight, they didn't quite make it. I mean, he hits that, they win the game. In a game they didn't play well. Then you talk about in overtime. First 2 possessions, you get that.
Larry,
then an unforced turnover. Yuck.
Oh, I know.
Now you're down 4. Now you get a stop. And Larry's in between. Should I dribble? Where's the basket? He misses that layup, and you come back, you make it a 6-point game. And they just never got in that rhythm.
And again, here, what I want to say is credit to the Hawks. DeJounte Murray and Trae Young, Clint Capella. I mean, we saw their numbers there in that overtime frame. They showed the double-doubles. I mean, this is a loaded squad, and they brought it on their home floor. And so at some point, you have to tip your cap to that, right?
Well, yeah, they got the win, and it doesn't matter anything about stats. The W is all that matters. But if you look at these double-doubles, these are monster. These aren't like we squeaked out a double. These are monster double-doubles between 3 guys putting up, we're happy with 20-20 and 20. They got 20-20-20, 30, and all of them got double figures, rebounding or assists. So monster game from them, and they stayed their course. The Pelicans just have to figure out a way, make a few adjustments down this stretch and find a way to get over the hump.
Trae Young, what has most impressed you in terms of his growth over the past year, would you say?
The way he controls the tempo. The way he drives his floater. I don't think he missed a floater tonight. And what that floater set up is, now I'm not going to shoot the floater. I'm going to throw the lob to Capella. You think he's shooting a floater, he's getting dimes. His overall game is impressive, and you look at his numbers, you can't see how he goes about business. The way you watch him, the eye test, is way more impressive than just the mere numbers.
Jason Dodge, our Oklahoma Sooner resident.
You mean the one that lost to Baylor today?
The one that lost to Baylor.
You set me up for that?
One in the control room. He built this one because, listen, he had to get his Sooner love in there at some point.
Well, show Sooner some love.
Hey, you know what? And I can't hate. Yeah. I can't hate. Look at him, Trae Young. I mean, like with those names. He's so much fun to watch, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry to whoever I offend in New Orleans for saying that, but he really is.
No, he is, and the only reason someone would argue with you is if they're not a true basketball fan. Basketball fans love Trae Young because he flat out balls. Now, you don't have to like the Hawks. You might not even like the way he looks, but he can play.
Again, we won't go to the hair. We won't go to the hair here on Pelicans Live, presented by Toyota. I'm just saying, you have money. No, listen, again, that's for another show. The Pelicans starters, though, it's the 5th time, I believe, that 4th time that the Pelicans have had all 5 starters in double figures, which is the most in the NBA, which is saying something about this team's depth. Because again, these are just the starters. We haven't even dove into the reserve unit with the Larrys and the Jose's and the Treys, right?
Yeah, and to me, the difference tonight, especially when you're playing a back-to-back on the road, going from the west to the east, your bench is way more important. That certainly shows the depth, but tonight, the bench wasn't quite that fire starter that they've been. They didn't really get the game going, and you know, when you're playing back-to-back games and overtime games, you really need to lean on your bench, and tonight, it just never seemed like any of the groups, starting 5, bench, combination of either, they just never had that pop in their step, and therefore they were never able to get over the hump.
It was a season high for both Zion and CJ, 29 apiece for them. We begin with Z, who returned Wednesday night for the first time in a week after going down with that hip and lower back contusion and picking right up where he left off.
He's clearly a problem.
Yeah.
You can't really figure out what matchup you like as far as, do you put a big, do you put somebody long, do you put, and Atlanta played him a little bit different than the teams have been playing him before, because everybody's been backing up. Tonight they had people up on him, and he made them pay for it. He went right by him and scored at will. And that fourth quarter where he scored 10 of 19 of that 19-6 run, he was in his bag. I mean, he shot the little short 10-footer in the lane. I love the way he played, but I will say this. Of all the things they do offensively, and prior to 2 games ago, they were 14th in defensive efficiency. That is going to continue to go down. They have to hang their hat on the defensive end, and right now there are way too many breakdowns, too many blow-bys, help guys not in the right position. They have to get their defense up, or all this depth is not going to matter.
You coached in the NBA, the G League, right? What would you tell Zion? Like, what would you tell Z right now to kind of help him on that?
These are personal choices.
Yeah.
Defense is about choice. Yeah. This is about want to. Herb is a good defensive player, not just because he's smart and knowledgeable and knows where to be. He wants to be good. Dyson hasn't been in the league but 5 minutes. He's okay because he wants to do that. Najee, same thing. Jose, same thing. But it's got to be more in that starting 5, a collective effort to get stops, because the last few games they started out slow, and especially on the defensive end, they're not flying around.
Yeah. What about CJ? Like, he's kind of that veteran, right, for this group. And again, he also finished with a season high, 29 in his 3rd double-double of the season, 29 and 10 for the acquisition just in February. And again, we talked about in the pregame tonight, like the remarkable difference he made for this squad. What is it, if you had to put your finger on it? What does he do?
Oh, well, he knows how to play. He's a smart player, and he knows his spots. Ultimate confidence. He's a superstar. This year, he's making more of a conscious effort. Hey, I got to get guys involved. I'm playing more of a point guard role, and you love that about him. And his leadership has to go up when he's talking to just that starting 5.
Yeah.
We got to guard some people. This is unacceptable, the way we're playing defense at times, where we're not. You can see it. You can see it on TV. There's no energy. There's no bounce. There's not people flying around. The deflections we've been marveling over the course of the last year and some change, I haven't seen it the last 2 games, and they have to get back to that.
3rd overtime game this season, 2nd straight on the road, and Pelicans winless in them. We hope to have some answers from the head coach, Willie Green, as we continue here on Pelicans Live, presented by Toyota. Quick break, but when we return, we'll bring you more reaction to a 3-point overtime victory by the Hawks on the road tonight and get you set for the rest of this trip. Pelicans Live on Valley Sports is brought